What is going on, guys? This is Miasin, and today we have a pretty interesting Cyberse Control Dragoon deck list. This guy went 5-0 at his locals, playing against Dragon Link on round 1, getting a 2-1 win, and then round 2 he played against Shadow Dogmatic and Vogue, getting a 2-0 win, and then 2-0 against Drytron on round 3, and then for the top 4 he won against Eldritch as a 2-0 win, which is pretty crazy. Finally, in the finals he won against Shadow Dogmatic and Vogue with a 2-1 victory. So huge shoutouts to this guy for the decklist submission, and huge congratulations as well. I also am going to showcase my own version of this decklist because I do believe that even though this decklist is pretty cool and pretty interesting, there are some kind of small changes that you could bring to make it a bit more consistent and more reliable maybe. So before we start, friendly reminder to like and subscribe. Motivates me so much to keep making videos like these, and now let's jump right into it. Alrighty, so first of all, he's playing Cyberse Gadget as the main kind of combo enabler. This is the best one. This is a 1-card Link 2 or a 1-card Link 3, depending on which kind of monster you're bringing back. Technically could be a 1-card Link 4, and obviously can make Access Code Talker quite fast, but the thing is, Cyberse Gadget as a starter play can only revive back a level 2 or lower monster from your graveyard, not really just always from your hand, so it becomes even better in the grind game, and in the early game, it's still enough to make, you know, the Link Disciple, and then Link Devotee combo, and then obviously go into the Lingaribo and the Anaconda, so you can go into Dragoon, and this is just the generic idea and the generic concept with the deck, which I think is really, really nice. But anyways, now of course playing Firewall Guardian. This card is also a starter, but it doesn't do anything super spicy. I guess it negates the attack of an opponent's monster, and then the original attack of that monster becomes 0, and it becomes unaffected by card effects, but I'm not a super big fan of this. I think this is kind of unnecessary, and you're going to play way too many normal summons. That's already like 10 normal summons, which is just too much. Debug searches you for extenders, but you're already playing, I don't know, enough starters like I said, so this card randomly loses to Ghost Ogre, and also, most importantly, it loses to Ash for absolutely no reason when you can play cards that don't lose to this card at all. So I think this shouldn't be included in the deck. And then Dotscaper, this card's kind of cool. It can revive back itself from the graveyard or the banished, but you can only use one effect per turn. Well, and you can only use each of these effects once per duel, and obviously only one effect per turn. So I think this is randomly... It's nice, but how are you getting it banished? Because if it's just in the graveyard, it doesn't do that much. But the fact that it's a level 1 makes it so it's a Cyberse Gadget, you know, target from the normal summon effect that revives back a monster, which I think is already quite enough to make it pretty good. And then Parallel Exceed, obviously this card's just broken. Now, Salamangreat Elmirage is not part of the extra deck, but if it was, you could actually, if it were, or whatever, you could use the hand traps as, you know, targets for Elmirage, and then summon the Parallel Exceed from your hand, and just OTK from there. It would literally be an instant 2-card OTK, because the Access Code Talker could have double attacks, since it would use Update Jammer, where is it, there, as a material with Transcode Talker, and then it would have 5300 attack, would be able to pop like 3-4 cards your opponent controls, and attack twice, which is like 10,600 damage. Absolute insanity, but that is not a part of the... I guess the extra deck is really, really tight, except for some cards that might not be there. I don't know if the Link Spider is really relevant, but whatever. And then we have also a few extenders, so Backup Secretary, Link Infra Flyer, and Cyberse Converter. These cards don't really do that much outside of just special summoning them from the hand, but don't really have any super spicy effect on top. It's really just your special summoning monsters from their hand. I guess this one kind of has a somewhat of a relevant effect when it is normal summon, you can target a face of monster you controls, it becomes a Cyberse until the end of the turn. That's usually not really relevant, but the thing is you can go into Update Jammer and Splash Mage, and then go into Transcode and then Access Code just with Cyberse Converter and any other monster, which is cool, but not the most relevant thing. I guess it could have value with cards like Crackdown, so you can just generically link off, but yeah. Anyways, Monster Reborn as the extender, Triple Desires, and only Red Eyes Fusion as the other 5th and final spell card. So not a lot of spells, meaning that Imperial Order can easily be main decked. Not bad, not bad. And then 8 Hand Traps, 3 Ash, 2 Ghost Bells for the Ice Dragon's Prison and stuff like that, and then 3 Imperm, so you don't really lose too much to Call by the Grave and stuff. Yeah, I also kind of like that as well. And then 2 Judgment, Triple Strike, Triple Crackdown, and I already covered these cards. So moving on into the extra deck, we have Dragoon of Red Eyes, Abyss Dweller, Double Access Code, Transcode, Unicorn. You summon this off of IP Masquerena on your opponent's turn. You don't really make this as a way to break your opponent's board more often than not, because you're usually going to be kind of locked out of making Link 3 or higher monsters if you use the effect of Link Devotee in the graveyard. And also, you're usually going to be under like Cyberse locks and stuff like that. That's usually the main problem with Cyberse decks. And then we have Update Jammer, Clock Lizard. This is nice. But the first time you make your Dragoon, if it gets outed, you can make Dragoon again because you can return it back to the extra deck from the graveyard and then immediately fusion summon it by banishing the materials from the grave. And Red Eyes Fusion just conveniently happens to set you up for that since it sends the material from deck to grave. So as long as they don't get banished by something like Dimension Shifter, you can always guarantee that you can summon 2 copies of Dragoon per game, which is really sick, and I really like that. This is probably one of the best Dragoon decks to play right now. And then Splash Mage is also a really fantastic card. When Salamangreat, no, not Salamangreat, Decode Talker Heat Soul will come out, this deck will become 20 billion times better. You have absolutely no idea. Anyways, Masquerena, Anaconda, of course. You could kind of try to play 2 Anacondas if possible, but I can definitely understand if that is not the case. And then Link Spider, Link Devotee, Link Disciple. This is the combo, so you are making Link Disciple and then you're getting a token with Cyberse Gadget, or you're getting back your Firewall Guardian once you link it off. And then you're going to make the Link Devotee and then tribute it with the effect of Link Disciple. Draw 1 card and then mulligan back 1, so even if you draw the garbage Dark Magician and Red Eyes Fusion bricks, it's never going to be a problem. You can always ensure that you can Dragoon with this combo, and this is what I love so much about the deck. And then we're playing, of course, Lingaribo, and that's it for the extra deck. Now, moving on into the side deck, we have 2 Nibiru, triple Lancia, triple Droll, good hand shop configuration if you want to beat the combo decks, and then 2 Cosmic, 3 Forbidden Drop, and 2 Dimension Barrier. I feel like this is way too focused to beat combo, and not really to beat control, so I would definitely try to play more back removal and stuff like that, or just more cards that are also really good against control, while also kind of having some form of utility against combo decks. But anyways, now let's get into my own version of the Cyberse control deck. Alright, so this is my own version, and to be fair, I don't think this is necessarily something that you should play, but there is a lot of logic behind some of the cards that I'm choosing to play. However, if you draw the Salamangreat cards alongside Red Eyes Fusion, you might not be able to combo off because you're going to be forced to make the El Mirage instead of making the Link Disciple, meaning that you won't be going for the mulligan play, and that is maybe a reason why the player who actually submitted this deck list didn't play a single Salamangreat card, because Spinny is just a broken one. It's just amazing. It's obviously a 1-card Dragoon, but also it is searchable by Salamangreat Circle, which is unaffected by Droll and Logbird, because you can use this on draw phase, and obviously this card is also an extender on top of being a 1-card starter. So if you make your Link 1 play, you can just go into the Spinny, the effect from the hand, and then revive back from the graveyard and make your Dragoon from there. But like I said, these are just ideas, and this is nothing that is 100% guaranteed. I think the concept that our friend showed us is already something very good and respectable. And I still kept the Dotscaper. Foul is, I guess, a new addition because it's pretty easy to make Salamangreat El Mirage. Even the hand traps can turn on the Salamangreat Foul, which is literally a joke. And then Salamangreat Mole is just a generic special summon from the hand. You're not really using it for the graveyard effect, but still. It just allows the Salamangreat Circle to have even more versatility. And then obviously the same 3 extenders as before. Like I said, I really wanted to completely cut the Debug and the Firewall Guardian because I wanted this deck to have more extenders instead of necessarily having more starters, because this deck already has all the starters that you need, I feel like. And then, yeah, Salamangreat Circle, Monster Reborn, Foolish Burial, a good one, especially when you're playing something like Dotscaper. I feel like this was kind of necessary as your extender card, so this definitely should have been included. 3 Desires. Now, I swapped the Imperm for Veiler because I really wanted all of your hands to be as playable as possible. It happened to me in the past where I was drawing like multiple Imperms and Parallel Exceeds and like nothing else, just hand traps and stuff. And if I played Veiler instead of Imperm, I could have went normal summon and then make the Salamangreat El Mirage and then summon the Parallel Exceed from the hand, and that could have made me win entirely in 2 seconds. But at the same time, you could go for more of a control approach and not try to OTK your opponent, even though you could. And this is why I also believe that Imperm has a place to stay. Cosmic Cyclone is a card that I seriously felt like you had to play instead of Judgment. Judgment was weird because you're not really trying to protect Dragoon from that many things, outside of like Dark Ruler, Forbidden Drop, and stuff like that. But Cosmic at least allows you to give you an extra push against back row decks going second. I don't know, I feel like it's really hard to beat back row decks and control decks, and and this is why I said that it was really impressive that this guy managed to win against Eldritch as a 2-0 victory, because all it really does is make Dragoon with trap cards, and Eldritch shouldn't suffer too much from that. I feel like Eldritch, technically, especially if you don't play back removal, should be able to beat this deck quite often, especially on a game 1, and then on a game 3 with the side deck that he had at the time, well, even right now, should be able to completely demolish it. But anyways, like I said, I decided to keep the Solemn Strikes and the Crackdown Imperial Order and everything else. The side deck, I only wanted to put in the Salamangreat Elmirage instead of Link Spider. The Link Spider has also a place to stay. And access code, the guy actually said that he made double access code sometimes, so this also should probably still stay there. The Abyss Dweller, I don't know how often it's coming up, but the thing is, Parallel Exceed isn't always going to be just an extender. Sometimes it's a way to make an extra interruption on top of everything, instead of just breaking boards and only having a purpose going second, so I definitely get why he's playing that card as well. Now, the Ibly isn't a card that I, actually consider playing, but it could be really nice against a few decks. Depending on how people build their decks, this card could be insane against Eldritch if they don't play any Link ones. I think the only Link one that they are playing is Imduk, so they can never go into Scarlet, Black Awakening, Conquistador, Hakuero, and stuff like that. So pretty nasty, and people cannot Imperm you or Gamma you, which is another really relevant thing. Against Dragon Link, I also believe that Ibly is pretty disgusting. They don't really play, yeah, they would have to, I don't even know if they play generic Link 2 monsters that don't suck. Yeah, so the Ibly, at worst, it's still a good card, and at best, it's an amazing card, and also it has an effect on normal summon when you can revive back a Link monster from your grave. And when you're playing, I don't know, 13 Link monsters, maybe it could make sense, but at the same time, I think it has to be, linked to it. Yeah, exactly. So you can't just revive back these cards and call it a day. But anyways, Nibiru, Drool, like I said, Lancia Drool, Forbidden Drop, D-Barrier, and Anti-Spell. Anti-Spell, I feel like, is the one card that you should play at more copies, especially when you're not playing that many spell cards anyways. And yeah, I think that's kind of it, but really just try to focus on beating back row decks a bit more. Oh, Harpy's Feather Duster should definitely be in there. And I think you can definitely survive without the D-Barrier. I think this was completely unnecessary. And the Forbidden Droplets, you can probably cut them for Lightning Storms and stuff like that. But anyways, that's all I had to show you guys. So huge shoutouts and congratulations to this guy for getting 5-0 at his locals, undefeated. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And also send your own deck list in the Discord server. Link will always be in the description box below. And I will see you next time. Peace.